United States lost 90,000 factories and plants. Think of that, 90,000. How do you do 90? If you had a map, a big map the size of that wall, and you had a pin for each factory, you wouldn't have enough room. You think of it, 90,000 factories since NAFTA, the worst trade deal in history, by the way, and we had it terminated. Everybody said you'd never be able to, it had to be terminated by Congress, and it was not easy. It was so bad. You know, the people have a lot of, it's very interesting, they have a lot of power, they have a lot of political power. It's hard to get even a bad deal terminated, but we did do it, and we got USMCA, and that's been really great. But when they cheat, it's not so good, and they cheat. They do cheat, you know. I respect Mexico, I respect Canada, but they cheat like hell. You know, Canada charges for our dairy products 270%. Nobody knows that. They charge you 2% for the first 2 cartons of milk. And after that, you go up to 270. And the press says, they've only charged 2%. No, that's for the first 2 cartons. So it's, you know, we can't have that. And we have to be wise to it and get along with everybody, but we have to call people out. 6 million manufacturing jobs were lost since NAFTA when 21 million illegal aliens poured across our borders. Think of that, many of whom were violent criminals, murderers, drug lords, and the mentally insane. Insane asylums were closed. They used to go crazy when I talk about Hannibal Lecter, the late, great Hannibal Lecter, right? Silence of the Lambs. The fake news would say, why does he talk about that? He's a fictional character. He's actually not. We have many of them that came across the border. He's actually not. But when the people went to the voting booth, then we understood why he talked about that, because they voted for us. They said, we don't want Hannibal Lecter in our country. The great Hannibal Lecter, he was a very important force, but the press would go absolutely crazy if I mentioned Hannibal Lecter's name, because they said he's a fictional character. No, but it was making a point, and the point is they're emptying mental institutions and insane asylums. Not anymore, they're not. Insane asylums into our country. We had numbers, the likes of which nobody's ever seen anything like it. Other countries, I deal with other countries all the time. I am right now on tariffs where they want to make a deal with us. We don't necessarily want to make a deal with them. We're happy the way we are, taking our $2 billion a day. But they want to make a deal with us, and they talk about it, and they say, we cannot believe that they had open borders. These are countries, they have, you know, they have borders, and they don't let people into their country. They can't understand how. They did it because they're sick or they're crazy. There's something really wrong with these people. But the same people now telling me about how to deal with China are the ones who sold out America for decades to China. For decades, they gave up to China. I'm the only one that you know how much? China's paid almost $700 billion in tariffs under me. And then they say, Donald Trump hasn't been tough on China. They say Trump hasn't been tough on Russia. Okay, here's the story. Nord Stream 2. Did anybody ever hear of it? It's the biggest pipeline in the world. I closed it. Russia had it. I closed it. Putin told me that's the worst thing. You're supposed to be friendly with me. I'd hate to see you as my enemy. I closed Nord Stream 2. When Biden got in, he opened it up immediately. It serviced all of Europe, going to Germany. It serviced all of Europe. We closed it, and they say, oh, he wasn't tough on Russia. I was very tough with the sanctions and everything else. And by the way, just for your information, we're trying like hell to get the fighting stopped between Russia and Ukraine. A thing that never would have happened if the election wasn't rigged. We had a rigged election. And we can say it and say it loud and say it proud because the election was rigged and we can't let that stuff happen anymore. Go to paper ballots, go to same-day voting, go to voter ID, go to citizenship. You have to prove your citizenship, a little piece of paper, and you won't have it. Sort of disappointing because a lot of Republican governors, they could do that. Same-day voting, paper ballots, very sophisticated paper, actually. It's all watermarked. You can't cheat. Very hard to cheat. France went that way. They were like us, and they were, you know, having very bad elections, very crooked elections. They had 37 million people. They voted. They had a winner. They had a loser. They went home. That was it. 10 o'clock in the evening, it was over. With us, you ever see, we have these machines that cost a fortune, and they say, we think we're going to have the final vote tally in 2.5 weeks. And wait a minute, this is election day. You ever see where in California they were counting votes 4 weeks later? And then they say, and by the way, all paper costs 8% of the machines. Why is it that Republican governors aren't going to it, okay? What's going on with our Republican governors? If nothing else, you say, even if it was just the same, and it's not, it's, you know, it's, nothing's foolproof when it comes to voting, but it's pretty close. But it costs 8%. In other words, you can have your election 8% the cost of the machines, and you get an accurate count. So it's pretty amazing. They gave us NAFTA, mass illegal immigration, the Democrats did, the fake Paris Climate Accord, and the China's entry into the World Trade Organization. That was a wonderful day for us. China entered the World Trade. They've done pretty good. And, you know, they didn't do things exactly by the books. And they were a developing nation. They still are. They say, we are a developing nation. We should be entitled to more. And our people say, oh, that's right, they're developing. They're not developing, we're developing. Look at some of our inner cities. We got to develop them. But we can't let the Democrats get away with this stuff. But we're developing more than they are. The globalists have been wrong about everything, and so I wear their attack on me because nobody has ever been attacked like a man named Donald J. Trump. In the history of our country, nobody's ever, but I wear it as a badge of honor. Nobody has ever been attacked. I was under more investigations than the late, great Al Capone. He was the most violent criminal. He was the most violent mob boss in history, and I was under investigation far more than him. It wasn't even close. Our opponents are not afraid that our America First policies will fail. They're terrified that our strategy will succeed and we're going to get bigger and stronger and better as a party, and that's what's happening, and that is what's happening. It's going to be something, and I'm actually looking forward to the midterms. I really are. We're going to prove that all of their treasonous years of betrayal will not be forgotten, because it's treason. What they did is treason. When they allowed millions of people to pour in through open borders from all over the world, they came. To me, that's treason. What they've done to our country is unthinkable. The money we have to spend to take people out, and then we have judges that say, no, let Trende Araqua come back into our country. They want him to come back in. Killers, they cut off a man's fingers because did you, sir, make a phone call to the police in Colorado? Yes, I did. You've attacked us and you've taken over our building. They took over real estate all over Colorado. You did, right? Give me your hand. Put the hand down. Boom. Cuts off his fingers. And they want him back. And how about the mix-up with the MS-13, where it wasn't a Trende Araqua, it was an MS-13 killer. And they said, oh, they got to mix up. Let's get them back into our country. No, we need people that are going to love our country. I'm proud to be the president for the workers, not the outsourcers. The president who stands up for Main Street, not Wall Street, who protects the middle class, not the political class, and who defends America, not trade cheaters all over the globe. They're trade cheaters. They cheated on us. They cheated with tariffs on us. They stole our money. They stole our jobs. And now people are going around saying, oh, we're not treating them right now. We're treating them very good, actually. They're lucky we're treating them so good. And, you know, when I have tariffs and I say, well, we're going to charge what they did. We're going to charge what they did. And then I say, I'm going to charge much less than they did. Believe me, we're actually being nice about it. But we're doing very well, better than we've ever done before. My job is not to maximize the profits of outsourcers and these foreign corporations are horrible. It's horrible what they're doing, but we're catching them. We're catching them by the dozens. My job is I have to defend the American dream, and I have to defend the American citizens. That's my job. I have to defend that. The American dream is never mentioned. It was mentioned for 4 years, and now it's being mentioned again, but it was never mentioned when we had Sleepy Joe in office. I used to have the hardest thing I had to do with Joe Biden is the nickname. Do I call him Sleepy Joe or Crooked Joe? Could we take a vote, please? Who wants to call him Crooked Joe? Who wants to call him Sleepy Joe? That's my problem. It's like the same. They both work. They both work beautifully. Joe had one ability that I didn't have. You know, he said he was a good golfer. He's terrible. Somebody said the only time I got angry during our debate when he said he was a 6 handicap. He's not a 6. He's not a 36, okay? But he had one ability that I don't have. He was able to go to a beach, bathing suit in tow, because it looked like it was actually falling off. But he'd go, had a hard time walking through the sand because, you know, sand is heavy on your feet. Carrying one of those 6-ounce chairs that are made out of aluminum that if you weigh a little bit too much, it just cracks in the middle when you sit down. And he could sit down in a beach with photographers on the beach. You know, he's the president, so he had a minimum of photographers, but he still had photographers. And he could fall asleep. Who the hell could do that? Who could fall asleep? And he'd turn around and drool would be coming out. He didn't care. His wife didn't care. It's an ability that I could never fall asleep under those circumstances. I'd be very conscious of my body and what we look like. I'd be sitting up like this. Then I'd say, darling, it's time to go. Let's get out of here. Well, wouldn't most people? I mean, this guy could go to the beach, and he was out in seconds. Guys are shooting him. He'd be in the papers the next day, eyes closed, mouth open. The United States has been getting ripped off for 50 years, and we're simply not going to take it anymore, and that's what's happening right now. In 1950, the United States dominated global auto production, producing more than 75% of all of the cars on Earth. Think of that, 75% and even higher before that. Today, we produce 11%, while China produces 3 times more than we do. Let me tell you something. With the tariffs that we're doing, as you know, we have tariffs on automobiles, aluminum, steel, separate from the other tariffs, the baseline, we call it. Companies are pouring back into our country with plants. There's a run on sites. There's a run on old plants. Most of them are being ripped down for new plants. They've stopped building in Mexico, 4 or 5 plants, and they're all coming into the United States. I know what the hell I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. And you know what I'm doing, too. That's why you vote for me. And the chip makers are coming in. They're all coming in. We've never had anything like this. We have investment, they think, of about think of this, $7 trillion. And that's been in a month and a half. Think of that. For the first, you got to give me a little time to get warmed up with that. So let's take the first couple of weeks off. For about a month and a half, we got almost $7 trillion spoken for. Trillion. We've never had that. I don't know if we've ever had it any time, but if you go back and look at Biden and these other campaigns, any of them, they didn't have those numbers for the year. These are the biggest chip makers in the world, the biggest auto manufacturers in the world. $7 trillion of investment, and that means jobs. I look at it differently, not investment. I look at it as jobs. And they're coming in at levels that we've never seen before. And it is true that Mexico, they've stopped building plants, and those plants are now going to be built in the United States of America. So it's pretty exciting. All because of 2 things. They say, they want to be nice to me. They say, sir, because of November 5th, the election, and because of tariffs. I said, in that order? And the smart ones say, yes, sir. First was that you got elected, and second was tariffs. And I'll accept that, you know. But I will tell you, because of tariffs. But I'm the only one that would have done the tariffs, because everybody was afraid. They were afraid of being criticized because the globalists will go after you. For 7 decades, American ships have patrolled the seas. American troops have kept the pace and peace. And American wealth has enriched the globe. But despite all we have given to them, you will not find an American car in Berlin, in Tokyo, in Seoul, in Shanghai, not a car. I used to say to Angela Merkel, Angela, how many Chevrolets do we have in Berlin? Why, none, Donald, none. That's right, Angela, you got it. How many Chevrolets do you think we have in Munich, Angela? None, Donald. I said, you sent us 7 million cars last year. So we're going to start buying American-made cars or cars that are manufactured in America. And if you can do it, not part of what I was going to say, but one of the best things that I think I've come up with is interest deductions. If you buy a car that's made in America, you get an interest deduction on the money you borrow. And I love it. I hope you can do it, Mike. I hope you can do it, because I haven't bugged you about that. I've been talking about no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. And I haven't really been as strong on this one, but it's only because it gets a little bit long, you know. But if you think of it, you buy a car, you borrow money, and you get a deduction on that money if the car is made in America. I'm thinking that will not cost you 10 cents. You'll make money with that one. I think you'll make money actually in a certain way with the other three also. I think they're very important, and they were part of our campaign. I was going to say before that in Nevada, that when I came up with the no tax on tips, I think that's why we won by a massive amount. And interestingly, they came up about a month and a half later. She was making one of her few speeches. She didn't speak too much for a reason, good reason. She was making a speech, and in the middle she said, oh, and by the way, we will have, and everyone's falling asleep, we will have no tax on tips. That place booed the hell out of it. They said, you're a little late on that one, because I was worried they'd copy me. You know, it was so good. You know how it actually happened? Maybe I should tell the story quickly. I was in my building in Las Vegas. We have a great restaurant there. And this young, beautiful waitress, and you're not allowed to say beautiful because that's the end of your political career. If you call a young woman beautiful, that's the end of your career. But what the hell, she was beautiful. So she came up to me. And she said, hello, sir. It's so nice to have you at the hotel. I said, thank you. I had a group of people. Some political people, actually. It was very interesting. And I said, how's everything going? She said, oh, it's so tough. They're after my tips. Who's after? The government. They're after my tips, constantly after my tips. They're after all of us for the tips. She said, sir, we should have no tax on tips. I said, say it again. What? We should have no tax. She said it. This was my consultant, a waitress from my hotel. Most people go out and spend millions of dollars to come up with an idea. I said, she just said no tax on tips. That's the coolest thing I've ever heard. So I went outside. There were a lot of, we finished our wonderful meal, steak, went outside, and there were a lot of cameras, as there always are, unfortunately. I say, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have a new policy all over the country, but specifically in Nevada. There will be no tax on tips, right? And the cameras went wild. Click, 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 click. And we won the state by a lot, so I don't know. So I have to find that waitress and thank her. She was my consultant, except I didn't pay her $2 million like the other consultants that we all get screwed by. Even worse than the tariffs other countries impose are the non-monetary barriers. That's a non-monetary. These are not financial. These are other things, what they do so that you can't get your product in that country. And China, as you know, is one of the big offenders. And it's not all China. Look, I get along with President Xi. I have over the years. But, you know, you just, when COVID came, that was the end. That was it. That was called the bridge too far. But I've always had a good relationship with a very smart guy, loves his country. I love our country. So, you know, we love our country. He loves his. I tell that to other leaders. You got to fight for your country. It's, you're not going to fight for us. But we can't fight for you. We're fighting for other countries. We're trying to make them great without making us great. But those days are over. They steal our intellectual property. They rob our trade secrets. They manipulate their currency to levels that have never been seen before. Today it was announced that China is reducing its currency. Did you see that? Big, big. In other words, they're going to make up for it. They got every trick in the book. I'll tell you, they are great. You got to hand it to them. You got to hand it to them. They're manipulating their currency today as an offset against the tariffs. Not supposed to do that. The game isn't supposed to be played that way. It makes it very hard for us. But in the end, it's not good because they have to buy oil. See, we don't need oil. We don't need oil and gas. We have more than any other country. They have to buy it. That's where it hurts them when they do that. It costs them twice as much. And they ship their products through every one of our trading partners, running up our deficits with these countries. They sell a lot. You know, when you put a tariff on them, they sell it like with steel. They were dumping tremendous amounts of steel into our country during my term. I saved every steel mill. We only have steel mills because of what I did. I put a high tariff on them, 25 and then 50%, and it stopped. It stopped. They were dumping so much steel, we would have lost every single steel mill. The people that like me best are the people in the steel business, but I think the auto business is going to be right there. I think chips are going to be there. I think pharmaceuticals are going to be there because, you know, we don't make our own pharmaceuticals, drugs, and other things to get better. They're made in other countries, and you pay a number, I mean, the same package in our country compared to like London and other places is sometimes 10 times more. 10 times more. Something that sells for $88 in London sells for $1,300 here, made in the same factory by the same company. And that's over. I told them all that's over. They put all of their research and development money, they put everything. But what they don't tell you is that these other countries are smart. They say you can't charge more than $88, otherwise you can't sell your product. And the drug companies listen to them. But we're going to do something that we have to do. We're going to tariff our pharmaceuticals, and once we do that, they're going to come rushing back into our country because we're the big market. The advantage we have over everybody is that we're the big market. So we're going to be announcing very shortly a major tariff on pharmaceuticals, and when they hear that, they will leave China, they will leave other places because they have to sell, most of their product is sold here, and they're going to be opening up their plants all over the place in our country. We're going to be announcing that, so that's breaking news. Ladies and gentlemen, we have breaking news. That's what's going to happen. What other presidents allow China to get away with is absolutely criminal, but I'm not like the other presidents, and it's not going to happen under President Trump. It's just not going to happen. After all of the abuses they've perpetrated, China's attempting to impose additional unjustified tariffs. Just so you understand, they all got rich because of tariffs. You know, now when we do it, oh, it's so terrible what Trump is doing. It's so terrible. They got rich. And not only China, many countries. I mean, you look at Vietnam, you look at so many, I could name 50 right now. Biden couldn't do that. He couldn't name any. Name one country. Name any country. What's the name of our country? He doesn't know. That's why additional tariffs on Chinese goods are in place effective midnight tonight at 104%. Until they make a deal with us, that's what it's going to be. I think they'll make a deal at some point. China will, they want to make a deal. They really do. They want to make a deal. They just don't know how to get it started because they're proud people. China will now pay a big number to our Treasury. This is all taxes. And don't let them keep telling you that this is a tax on our people. I hate that. You know, they say it's a tax. No. Often, much of it is paid. And hey, look what happened during my first term. We had no inflation, and yet I took in hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs and taxes from China. No other president got 10 cents in tariffs or taxes from China. I got hundreds of billions of dollars. Hundreds of billions of dollars. And I still got along with them because they understood what they were doing was wrong. They understood it. When you explain it, they sit up, they say, I've had numerous leaders tell me, you're right, sir, I was waiting for you to bring this up. Because some of the trade deals that were made by predecessors as president were so bad, you almost wonder who did these deals. They were either crooked or stupid. They can be nothing else. They were either stupid or crooked. It's terrible, but it's all being changed. I changed a lot of it in the first 4 years. But it's all being changed. You know, in the first 4 years, we had the most successful country in history in terms of economics. We had an 88% increase in the stock markets. We had an 88% increase. There's never been any president that had an 88% increase. We had 88%. And there are a lot of happy people. And I think we're going to do much better than that this time, because this time I'm doing what I want to do with respect to the tariffs. I think we're going to do much better. And just remember the numbers. When you get up to $2 billion a day, $2 billion a day, they're saying, sir, can't be that, can it? I said, yeah, it can. It's the biggest transaction ever made. This is bigger than any deal. You guys, some of you work for companies. Your companies are peanuts. I don't care how big they are. This is the largest transaction in the history of our country. And don't let some of these politicians go around saying, you know, because I'm telling you, these countries are calling us up, kissing my ass. They are dying to make a deal. Please, please, sir, make a deal. I'll do anything. I'll do anything, sir. And then I'll see some rebel Republican, you know, some guy that wants to grandstand, say, I think that Congress should take over negotiations. Let me tell you, you don't negotiate like I negotiate. Congress takes over negotiating. Sell America fast because you're going to go busted. You don't. I just saw it today. A couple of your congressmen said, I think we should get involved in the negotiation of the tariffs. Oh, that's what I need. I need some guy telling me how to negotiate. I tell you, the happiest people in the world would be China. They wouldn't be paying 104%. I tell you, they'd be paying no percent. We'd be paying them 104%. That's the beauties. These guys, we got to be careful. And even the concept of it hurts your negotiation. When they see a little story like that, the other side, you know, it hurts your negotiation. And then the fake news wants to build it up, and it has no chance anyway. But we have to remain united. As I defend workers from unfair trade, House Republicans have a chance this week to bring trillions and trillions of dollars pouring back into America by pushing forward with the largest tax cuts in American history, which is what you're working on right now. The largest in American history. And you know, the reason we had, because we had a great first term and amazing first term, but I saw that the other day that we had the most successful, I mean, I knew it anyway, but I saw that we had 88% increase. That's a tremendous increase. Think of that. And that's with all of the difficulties and all of the fake investigations and the Adam Shifty Shifts. Can you believe this guy? He's got the smallest neck I've ever seen. And the biggest head. We call him watermelon head. I'd say, how could that big fat face stand on a neck that looked like this finger? How can it? It was the weirdest thing. It's a mystery. Nobody can understand it. But he's one of the most dishonest human beings I've ever seen. And, you know, how we can allow people like that to run in office is a shame, but we did. He was in charge of the witch hunt, you know. He was in charge of the fake witch hunt with Russia, Russia, Russia. It was a made-up story. Made up. Think of it. They make up a story. They know it's made up. It's gone on for a year and a half, 2 years. Russia, Russia, Russia. I knew nothing about it. The only thing I knew was that I taxed the pipeline that I told you about, that I put all sorts of sanctions and everything else. They never had a problem like they had with me. But it was Russia, 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 constant, as a method of, what they did is that was the complaint about why she lost an election, because crooked Hillary was expected to win the election. But they didn't see what we saw. We saw the biggest crowds in history gathering, only superseded by the crowds we just had. But here's a guy that goes out, and he goes to an intelligence hearing, or whatever you might call it, and it's supposed to be secret. He'd walk out, he'd either make a call off the record, this is crooked Adam, shifty Schiff. He's a shifty Adam. Or he'd just go out blatantly and have a news conference. And because it had to do with me and my family, he'd go out and have a news conference. And he said, you know, you've got to remember, he knows it's a hoax because he made it up with crooked Hillary. So he knows it's a hoax because we're dealing with human beings on the other side. He'd say, Donald Trump Jr., the son of the President of the United States, will spend many years in prison because of what he's done with Russia. Now, think of that statement on a human basis. I have a son, a young son, who is being told that he's going for prison on something he doesn't even know what they're talking about. He said, Dad, I don't know what's going on. They keep talking about I'm involved with Russia. I don't know anything about Russia, I swear to you, Dad. And yet, Adam Schiff goes out and makes a statement about a hoax that he made up, that he knows is false. How bad a human being do you have to be? They put my son and my family through that kind of trauma. These are bad people. These are sick degenerates. And I used to be much nicer to them. I gave them the benefit of the doubt, but I've just seen too much. They make up a story about Russia. It was a hoax. And eventually, now they've all admitted it was a hoax. On to the next one. That's Russia, Russia, Russia. But they know it's a hoax. And they say about a young man that he's going to spend the rest of his life in prison because of what he's done with Russia. He knows it's a hoax. How bad do you have to be to have that happen to your son? And, you know, it has a bad effect on a family, a bad effect. You know, you okay, Don? I am dead, but I don't understand. They keep tying me to Russia. I don't know anything about Russia. He didn't know a damn thing about Russia. It's a disgraceful situation. That's why we got to kick their asses in the midterms, and we got to kick their asses again in 4 years. If we slash taxes on American workers and producers, our economy will soar, jobs will surge, manufacturing will boom, and our country will prosper like never, ever before. We got to get this big, beautiful deal done. We got to get it done, and get it done now. Don't wait 2 weeks. Don't wait 2 weeks. See, bad things happen. Crazy things happen in politics. Just get the damn thing done and stop showboating. A couple of people want to, sure, we got to get a little bit more. A little bit more, you know what you're going to get? You end up getting nothing. You end up getting a Democrat bill or worse. In the past 11 weeks, we've already created 350,000 jobs. It's unprecedented, including 10,000 manufacturing jobs that we haven't even started yet. Gas prices, you know, when I came in, they said he campaigned on prices coming down and prices going up. They're not going up, they're going down. Gas prices are way down. In fact, they had something $2.50 a gallon. I saw on television a little while ago in between watching my great friends on C-SPAN. I saw that the prices are down to $2.50, $2.60, $2.75. It was, when I came in office, it was $3.50, $3.75. But prices are coming down. Prices on groceries are coming down. Prices of eggs are down like 87%. 87, you know, they got me with that. I told you. Before I even got in office, they were telling me about, they're down close to 87%. And core inflation has dropped to the lowest levels in 4 years. And as I said, we had no inflation in 4 years, despite the fact that I took in hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs, so we hadn't even started yet. Nearly $6 trillion of new investment, and that number is now revised up to about 7. Apple, great company, is spending $500 billion because of tariffs. $500 billion, not 500 million, that's a lot. 500 million, you know, when I first heard the number, I said, you mean 500 million? You can build a lot of plants for, no sir, 500 billion. 500 billion? TSMC, the biggest, most powerful chip maker in the world. This is without that stupid CHIP Act, where they say, here's billions of dollars to a company that doesn't need it. These chip companies are loaded. They give these companies billions of dollars to build a plant in the United States. They don't build them in the United States. They keep the money. It looks good. They give them billions. No. TSMC, I gave them no money. Great company. Most powerful in the world. Biggest chip company in the world. They're spending $200 billion in Arizona building one of the biggest plants in the world. And that's without money. All I did is say, if you don't build your plant here, you're going to pay a big tax. 25, maybe 50, maybe 75, maybe 100%. NVIDIA is investing hundreds of billions of dollars. Johnson & Johnson is investing $55 billion. Eli Lilly is investing $27 billion. DeMac is investing $20 billion. We have billions and billions being invested by Merck, Clarios, Stellantis, General Motors, Honda, Nissan, Hyundai. All are putting in billions and billions and billions of dollars. They're buying sites all over. They're building because they don't want to have to pay 25 and 50% tariffs. They're all doing it. And I think they also have confidence in the country. They have a president that they have confidence in. I know many of them. With the help of people in this room, We are one big, beautiful bill signing away from the greatest economy in the history of the world. And it's an overhang. You know, this bill's an overhang because if it doesn't get signed, we will have imposed the biggest tax on the people of this country in our country's history by 40%. Biggest tax, because we gave you the biggest tax cut in history. Now we're giving you another, which is one of the reasons that there are many reasons why we were so successful, but that's one of the big ones. The other one is that one-year deduction, all in one-year deduction, so big, and I know they're working on that, the big deduction. It makes people invest. But now we're working on something that's going to, I think, blow it away. This bill is unbelievable. It's going to bring a lot of money back into our country. But if we don't do it, it's going to be a disaster. And you just better hope that people believe that it was the Democrats' fault, because, you know, they're very good at saying it was our fault. It'll be the biggest tax increase in history. And all my life as I watched politicians, I wasn't a politician, but I watched them and I contributed to them a lot, contributed a lot of money over the years, but I watched it. But all my life I'd hear politicians saying, we are going to give you a tax cut. I will cut your taxes. We will cut your I never heard. They're the only party that says, we are going to increase your taxes. Vote for me. Who the hell ever heard this? Only these people. We're at a strange time. These lunatics go out and they tell everybody how you're going to have a big tax increase. So maybe they want the bill to fail so that we can have a tax increase. Maybe they'll take credit for it. But I've never heard that said. I've watched politics all my life. I've never seen politicians campaign on, we're going to increase your taxes, except these crazy Democrats. As part of this legislation, I am committed to spending cuts, and I will fight hard to include the elimination of hundreds of billions of dollars in waste, fraud, and abuse in the bill. We've already found hundreds of billions of dollars through DOGE, and Elon has been terrific. He's been really terrific. But we've found hundreds of billions of dollars of waste, fraud, and abuse. But now we need to get the budget resolution, and we have to get it passed in the Senate. We have to bring it through the House. It's going to pass in both. One thing I'll say is that Thune has been great. John Thune has been great. And he's worked with your great leader hand in hand. Those two bills are coming up together, and they're very similar. And I didn't know if that would happen because you have a lot of different rules, procedures, complicated stuff. But Mike has been amazing, and John Thune, and they've worked like amazingly well because they've just been going on at the same time. And we're ready to get this thing done and beyond and get rid of the debt hangover ceiling that's a disaster for our country and for everybody, and to give people the biggest tax cuts they've ever had, because we're going to add them both up together. It'll be the biggest tax cuts. It'll blow away the tax cuts that we got them 4 years ago. If we follow through on this agenda, we will be rewarded with a phenomenal economy and a massive victory at the ballot box in 2026, because we will have a record of triumph like no president has ever had, like no Congress has ever had. They will not be able to even touch your seat. Your seat is secure, and we'll pick up 40, 50, or even 60 seats, and we'll have something that's going to be smooth sailing for years to come. If we don't get it done because of stupidity or a couple of people that want to show how great they are, you just have to laugh at them or smile at them or cry right in their face. In less than 3 months, our new administration has already accomplished more than most administrations achieve in 4 years or 8 years, and everybody says it. And we have to have this stuff documented and approved. In a matter of weeks, we've achieved the lowest level of illegal border crossings in American history. In history, they have a plaza in front in Tijuana, Mexico. I wouldn't advise going there on a trip, but nevertheless, they have a plaza, a big plaza, held hundreds of thousands of people. Yesterday morning, there were none. There was a man sweeping this massive plate of concrete, massive. And he was sweeping the concrete, and there was nobody there. During the same period last year, Joe Biden released more than 184,000 illegal aliens into our country. Think of it. Many of these people were from jails and mental institutions, as I said. Since my inauguration, we've released a grand total of nine. And they were all, in all cases, medical emergencies. We did that for medical emergency reasons. Last month, we officially designated Trinidad, MS-13, and the Mexican drug cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. And thanks to the Supreme Court yesterday, and today we had a big ruling, too. We had a very big ruling today. But we will continue to deport these monsters under the Alien Enemies Act. Think of that, Alien Enemies Act. Can you believe it? All things we wouldn't have had to do if the election weren't rigged. Now, in reconciliation, we need Republicans in Congress to give us the full funding to permanently secure the border and to carry out. That's part of what we're asking for. Who could fight that? We want to permanently secure. Without a border or without fair elections and without a good press, you don't have a country. Well, we have a lousy press. We now have a good border. And we're going to get good elections pretty soon. There's a lot of clamor for it. I think it's something that you should work on. You should go out and put a bill in demanding. You demand, because the states are just an agent of the federal government, of you. You're to demand paper ballots. You're to demand one-day elections. You know what they do when it's longer than one day? All of a sudden, well, we're fixing the room up. Move those boxes. We're putting an air conditioner. Oh, really? We'll move the boxes back in a few days. Well, we're painting the room. Please move the boxes. And you notice the boxes go out, and then they move back in about half the number. Oh, it's so sick. One-day election. You don't need any more than that. One-day election, paper ballots. I think you should put a bill in. I mean, I don't know. Who's in favor of a bill? Who could not want it? Who could not want it? But I think you should do a bill in that. I think it would be so popular. And more importantly than popular, it's so necessary. You have to have great elections. You have to have fair and free elections. And you've got to have borders. Otherwise, you don't have a country. To quickly bring down the cost of energy and lower the price of everything, on day one, I declared a national energy emergency to drill, baby, drill. We're drilling. Oh, we're drilling. I withdrew from the unbelievably expensive for us, the Paris Climate Accord. So we were paying, it would have cost us $1 trillion, $1 trillion. China doesn't come into it till like 2035. Russia's based on a 1992 standard when the air was dirty. India was based on a very low standard. Except the United States, we had to pay immediately. We would have spent trillions of dollars on that scam. And it sounds so nice, the Paris Climate Accord. What a beautiful name. Isn't it beautiful? It was a ripoff of the United States. Well, don't forget, I'm negotiating with these people, but if you really look, the European Union, why was that set up? It was set up to screw the United States of America. They formed a group of countries, got together, and let's make life miserable for the United States of America on trade and other things, and they have done that. They've done that. They've treated us very badly. We don't sell cars into the European Union. They won't take our agriculture. They want their own, but we take their agriculture, we take their cars by the millions. I terminated the Green New scam, one of the great scams, one of the great hoaxes in the history of our country, only superseded by Russia hoax. I canceled Joe Biden's insane electric vehicle mandate where everybody had to have an electric vehicle in a very short period of time. Everybody was forced to have an electric vehicle. They built some power stations in the Midwest. They look like gas pumps with electricity, right? They spent $8 billion, and 4 of the 9 of them don't work. 4 of 9, they built 9 or 8, but half of them don't work. They spent $8 billion bringing the cables, bringing the wires. What a great investment that was. Billions of dollars they spent. Now people can go out and buy a gasoline-powered car or hybrid. They can buy whatever they want. We don't want hydrogen because they have some big problems. They blow up, and you never see who is driving the car. You're not recognizable. That's a big problem. They were telling me about, sir, I'm really liking hydrogen cars. I said, but isn't there a problem? Yes, they tend to blow up on occasion. I said, how bad is it? Well, we found body parts 250 yards away from the car. We think it was Mr. Jones, but we're going to go to see his dentist and see if we can. So if you have one of those incidents, let's forget it, right? It's a bomb. It's a bomb. I don't want him to work. I actually said, don't work on it. Between that and windmills, you can have windmills too. Most expensive form of energy ever. Anybody have a windmill by your house? Congratulations, you'll never sell your house. And today I signed historic executive orders to unleash coal production to the highest levels ever. Because, you know, coal is the most powerful thing. We have more of it than any. We have more liquid gold under our feet, oil and gas, and we have more coal than any other country. No other country has as much as we have. All different forms of coal. And take a look at China. They're building 2 coal plants a week. Think of that, 2 a week. We are screwing around with wind. Oh, wind. These people are crazy. They say, oh, it's great for the environment. Yeah, it kills all your birds. You want to see a bird cemetery? Walk under a windmill sometime. Got birds all over the place. They're screaming for help. They got whacked. The environmentalists, it's an environmental dream. You know why? Because you're never going to have energy. They're the most expensive form of energy there is. 10 times more expensive than clean natural gas, 10 times much more expensive than coal, and they're very unreliable. Like if they wanted to watch us tonight on television, Alice, I want to watch the president tonight. I'm sorry, darling, but the windmills aren't blowing. We're going to give them confidence to do what they have to do long into the future, because coal is going to be a big factor in our country now. You know, it does give us our electricity, because there's nothing like coal in terms of power, but it's going to be clean, beautiful coal, like our bill. It's going to be clean and beautiful. Coal miners, and by the way, they've made tremendous progress with also coal in terms of clean coal. But the coal miners standing alongside of me this afternoon in the White House, they were incredible. They were a beautiful sight to behold. These are really great American patriots, beautiful guys. I didn't want to have any arm wrestling contests with any of them, I can tell you that. They're good, strong guys. That's what they want to do. They love to dig coal. That's what they want to do. They don't want to do gadgets and widgets and wadgets. They don't want to build cell phones with their hands, their big, strong hands, doing a little thing. Remember when Hillary Clinton went to West Virginia? And she had decimated them 3 weeks before in, like, some state where they make little tiny circuit boards. And she said, we're going to teach the miners in West Virginia how to make a circuit board with little tiny things. He said, we're going to teach them. And then she went to West Virginia. She was in the campaign. And she had to go there. Do you remember that stop? It was memorable. It was one of the worst. Did they go after her? And one of the miners said, I don't want to do anything else but dig coal. I want to dig coal. They said it today. That's what they love. They love doing it. It's like that in a lot of industries. People love doing what they're doing. They want to dig coal. That's what they want. They don't mind going deep in earth. They feel comfortable there. Me, I could do without it. But they feel comfortable. They're incredible people, actually, hardworking, incredible people. And we're giving them their lives back. We've also begun the largest deregulation campaign in history. For every 1 new regulation, I have directed that 10 old regulations must be eliminated before the first one can go into effect. And we're working tirelessly to restore peace through strength and bring back the hostages held captive abroad. We've brought a lot of them back already, but what a sad situation that is. What a sad situation that is. That would have never happened if I were president. October 7th would have never happened. And I said Russia-Ukraine would have never happened. All this stuff, inflation would have never happened. Afghanistan disaster would have never happened. Most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. Not leaving. I was going to leave I'm the one that got them to a point where they could leave, but I was going to keep Bagram, the air base, one of the biggest in the world. I was going to keep it, not for Afghanistan, because it's 1 hour away from where China makes its nuclear weapons. Wouldn't it be nice to have it? You know who occupies it now? China occupies it now. Can you believe how stupid this guy was? On top of that, they get blown up at the airport, leaving the wrong airport. They didn't leave from Bagram. They left from a local little airport, which was crowded and like crazy with the people from the towns and cities. And the bomb went off and decimated hundreds of people, killed hundreds. We lost 13 soldiers. But we also had 42 or 48 horribly injured, arms, legs, face, horribly injured. All because we had a stupid leader. Should have never happened. Should have never been involved in that. We're also joined tonight by a number of brave souls who were recently released from Hamas captivity. Hamas is just a disaster, the level of hatred. Where are the people? Hamas, they understand what that's all about. Where are you? That's great. How does it feel to be out? How does that feel to be out, huh? You want to come up here for a second? Come on up here. Come on up here. Come on up. Yeah, let them up, please. That's great. That's great. I'll tell you, these people, what they had to go through. I had 10 hostages in my office 2 weeks ago. What they had to go through is just horrible. Come on up. That's great. That is so nice to see you. That is so nice.
Thank you very much, President Trump. I'm here, and I'm alive. President Trump, you saved my life. You saved the life of 33 hostages that because of your efforts, and you're setting the hostage crisis at the high priority of what you're doing among all of the enormous issues and things that you're dealing with since you came into your position as President of the United States. You set the hostage crisis at the highest priority. You got 33 of us home alive. We all owe our lives to you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And please continue your tremendous efforts and your tremendous actions and your tremendous accomplishments. Continue, and we will get, with your help, all of the remaining 59 hostages still in Gaza back home. Thank you.
Thank you, President Trump, for bringing my Keith home. Keith's grandchildren are the happiest. Keith's children are the happiest. Keith's family is the happiest. But I am the most happiest. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
We need you. We need you to bring all the hostages home. There's 24 that are alive and 59 to come home to their families, just like I received kids they needed to. We have Yair standing here with us, and Eitan, his brother, is underneath the ground now, begging to get out. So I'm begging you all to help us. We need your help. Thank you.
So, my name is Yair. I've been in hell for 498 days. I've been held in hell with Hamas terrorists. When we didn't see the light, but we feel when we heard President Trump get elected, we knew there is now someone who makes the things happen. I'm sorry about my English. I am half Argentinian, half Israeli. I'm sorry. We knew we need someone who do the things. That's President Trump. We are here because of President Trump. Thank you. Thank you for your efforts. It's really surreal to be here. You know, I'm a simple man. I'm running the bar in the kibbutz in Niroz, where I was live, and now I'm here with President Trump, who's running the world. We are thankful. We are really thankful, but humbly we ask for more. The last push, the last 59 people, the last 59 hostages, among them my brother Eitan, and what is Liran brothers, Zivi and Gali and Eviatar, all the brothers, all the families. In a few days we mark the Passover, right? Pesach. It's a family. Family time. So I expect that in the next Seder, when my mother make the kneidalach, the matzah balls, that my brother Eitan, my little brother, who I call little, but he's 38, but it's my little brother. I hope he can sit with us in the Seder of Passover, and wow, it's overwhelming. I just want to tell you again, thank you. Thank you very much.
I just want to say, I said, of the 59 people that you want to bring home, how are they and how are they doing? Do you have any idea? Because they left that whole scene not long ago. And they said, well, of the 59, 24 are living, the rest are dead. I just heard that. And I was told that before by somebody else. But 24 are living, the rest are dead. These are young people, largely young people. Young people don't die. Young people are killed, they don't die. But the conditions were so horrible. But think of that, so of the 59. And I've had Israeli parents tell me that my son is dead, but please bring him home. As though he were alive, she wanted him brought home more than, it just seemed almost more than if her child was living. Amazing. They wanted the mother and father, in 3 other cases, they wanted to have them brought home. I said, how is he doing? He's dead. It's only his body, but we want him home. So there's an amazing thing. But the 59 that you mentioned, you said that 24 were alive and the rest are dead. This is a terrible thing that's going on with Hamas. Terrible. The hatred is so incredible. It's unbelievable. And the way they were made to live was not even understandable, I think, by anybody in this audience. And you have great people in this audience that love you, and they're going to fight for you. And I just want to thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. We'll get him back. Be careful. It's incredible what they've been forced to live with for 450, 500 days. Incredible. Nobody in this room could really understand it. I found it hard to understand. But we'll not rest until your loved ones have been returned home, and hopefully we can do it the right way. We want to get those 24 out really fast, and we're working on it very hard. There was no chance before. This is something that should have been done right at the beginning during the past administration. On day one, we ended the so-called diversity, equity, and inclusion policies across the entire federal government, the private sector, and it's just not even allowed. I also signed an order making it the official policy of the United States government that there are only 2 genders, male and female. We want to keep it simple. As you know, in a very important executive order, I banned men from competing in women's sports. That was done, and I hope all of these executive orders can be codified, can be voted on by Congress. I can't imagine any Republican that's not going to vote for them. Many, many of them, over 100. And I think every single one of them is just common sense, good. It's good politics, but the word politics doesn't matter to me so much. It's good for our country. If Democrats retake the House next year, they will try to reverse all of the progress that we've made, which is record-setting progress. Instead of House committees run by Mike Johnson, Steve Scalise, Jim Jordan, James Comer, Ronnie Jackson, and so many other of our friends in this audience, the House will be run by the same band of radicals and lunatics you saw at my address to Congress, including Hakeem Jeffries, AOC, Ilhan Omar, Nancy Crazy Pelosi, and Weird Al Green. He's a weird dude. Oh, he should have been treated very badly for the way he behaved that night. Think of it, they didn't stand up. They didn't pay respect to anybody, including, think of it, you take a look at Laken Riley, you take a look at any of the people there, the parents of these incredible people, the young boy with cancer, serious cancer, wanted to be in a police department, would give anything to be a policeman someday. They refused to even applaud or acknowledge them. They're sick, there's something wrong with them. They sat, as the stories were explained, 2 young ladies savagely killed by illegal aliens. They came into our country and they killed these 2 young ladies, and the Democrats sat there. They didn't smile, they didn't clap, they didn't do anything. I think you frankly win the midterms. Just all you have to do is show a picture of these grieving parents, uncontrollably grieving, and they didn't get one clap out of the whole group of them. They just sat there like stoic and disgraceful. And you show that in your commercials that you're going to be putting on, and you'll win every race that we have in this room. That was a bad night for them, and now they know it. They're trying to make up for it. But they're just, I don't know, something wrong with them. That's why every day from now until November 2026, we're going to fight to elect and expand the Republican majority of the House and save our country from these radical left lunatics. We will not be deterred. We will not stop. We will not yield, and we will never, ever back down. We're not going to back down. They would lose respect if you back down. They're the ones that back down. They're the ones that have lost their confidence. They're no good anymore. I saw politicians that were good politicians 4 years ago. They're not good politicians anymore. They've lost their confidence. They've totally lost their confidence. But they can get their confidence back, so you can't rely on that too much, I guess. Together, we're liberating our country, reclaiming our wealth, unleashing our energy, protecting our children, rebuilding our military, repelling the invaders, deporting the criminals, destroying the gangs, and unlocking what history will know as the golden age of America. This is going to be the golden age of America. With your support, your commitment, and your help to elect more Republicans, we will finish the job that we have really brilliantly started. It's been a brilliant period of years, and we go back to 2016. It was brilliant. Then they stole it from us by illegally rigging the election, and we did great in that election, but we had to write it off, and we all went through hell. I went through hell in particular. Indictments. What we had to go through is hard to believe. Impeachments, 2 impeachments over nothing, over a phone call that was perfect. They knew it was perfect. And they found out after they realized that the calls were essentially taped by the government because you were talking to a foreign leader. And when that was played back, they didn't know what the hell to do, but they went forward with it anyway because they're sick people. The American dream will come roaring back in our country. Together, we're going to make America greater than it's ever been before. And I just want to thank you and congratulations on your record evening. And I'm with you all the way, and I'm going to be campaigning with you, and we're going to win, win, win like we've never won before. And thank you to your leadership, and Mike, great job. You're doing a fantastic job. Thank you all very much.
All right, there you go. President Trump all fired up tonight. Man, at the NRCC dinner, President looking good in that tuxedo, I'll tell you that. Live from Studio 6B. Oh, there it is, Trump dance. Real America's Voice on a Tuesday night, April 8th. Hour 2. Man, that was the fastest first hour we've ever had.
That was amazing.
Hello and good night.
There it is, Trump dance again. Woo.
I don't think that tux is a rental, by the way.
I think it's probably not.
He owns that.
Yeah.
You know, Men's Warehouse has a great deal on tuxes, I'm just saying, but the president probably sprung for an Armani tux.
Yeah, I would say it's something like that. It looks pretty good. Slickster, how are you?
I'm doing good, Big Day.
Slick will have some sports here, and we're going to try to cram everything we can into hour 2. Rick Delgado's here. He's going to do some news. Delgado, how are you?
Good.
Pretty Mac, how are you?
How could I not be anything but great? I got the opportunity to have dinner with Damon tonight before we got to the show.
Oh, man.
Oh, what did that cost you?
Oh, man. That cost me about 1,200 lira. It was very expensive. And we went to a really, really high-end, classy place.
Yeah,
Damon
Chinese
does not cut
takeout.
any corners.
Now, did he make you carry the tray, or did you carry it?
It was, we had someone actually carrying the tray for us. It was nice. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, we went to an old school diner, right?
I'm sitting here going, this guy's so full of it, and he's still buying it over here. Yeah. And we went to the diner.
Yeah.
That's all. Just get caught up.
It was old school. It was like Flo. You know, she's the Flo, the waitress, and the guy who behind the counter, or the guy cashing the money there. He's been there for a couple of 100 years. It was great.
They got the Long Island diner with the huge pie that never seems to get eaten, but it looks delicious.
Every person that Vin comes in contact with, he has something to say. Every person.
Did you get into a fight in the diner?
Yeah. Yeah.
He's got something to say.
Always work in the room, Damon.
Yeah,
Always.
you
Always
that is exactly right. You are always working the room.
Now, why were you fighting in the diner?
No, we weren't fighting at all.
No, we were getting along well. Well, first off,
No, I mean, you said he has something with somebody.
no, just conversation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm just,
I thought you walked into the diner and Damon's looking for a seat and you're off yelling at somebody.
God, I barely talk to anybody. Vin.
Well, then you get the menu.
Nonstop.
The menu has about 40 pages. It covers just
God. I
about
love
every
the menu.
country. You can get any dish ever created by man at a diner. And I'm wondering, where are they keeping all this food?
At any time.
At any time.
Any time of day.
Anytime during the day.
The
They got more
greatest.
frozen moments than Disney on Ice.
Yeah,
Everything's
exactly.
frozen.
So what'd you think of the president, Vin?
Oh, well, it was a bit long, I have to say. I usually get inspired by his speeches and so on, but this one went a little long for my blood. I wish he would call out Congress and a few other things more succinctly. He does say things. I think what he's trying to do is just say, hey, I'm going to back you guys, but you need to back me, rather than call them out as hardcore as I probably would want. But I would want a little more of that, because I think at the end of the day, the success of his administration is going to be all of Congress and all the House voting together. And if some people need to be called out, they need to be called out. So overall, I thought he could have been stronger there. But it was a long speech, so I zoned in and out a few times, to be honest.
Did have some kind of a feel of almost a rally speech. Some of the same themes. It was quite long. I wasn't sure what to expect when I heard he was speaking tonight, but I mean, for the most part, it was funny. His comedic timing is always good. I think most of the substance was good. The stuff with the survivors was incredible.
Yeah.
The only thing I have a problem with is his speech on voting for this big, beautiful bill. There's nothing about it that's beautiful. It's big. It's gigantic. It's worse. He's like, if you don't vote for it, you're going to get a Democrat bill. It's worse than a Democrat bill already. There has to be somebody around him that's telling him how bad it is, what the Senate passed. It's worse than a Republican bill. And so I don't understand. I do not understand. Nobody voted for them to spend worse than Democrats. Every Republican ran on inflation, out of control spending, out of control deficits. That's why they won, in part. That's why they won. And then the Senate Republicans are tossing around a bill that has $14 trillion in new deficits over 10 years. Let me repeat that. $14 trillion in deficits over 10 years. It raises the debt ceiling by $5 trillion. That is the most in history. Not D, not R. The most in history. It spends $345 billion immediately and cuts $4 billion from an $89 trillion budget. Big, beautiful bill. We all need to vote for that. What? Yeah. That's delusional. All right, 13 past the hour, live from Studio 6B on hour 2. We'll do sports, news, cram it all in. We get back right after this.
Chat, live in the chat. First time we've been saying that all night, live in the chat.
Yeah. Chat.
Hello, chat.
Yeah.
We were having a little fun during the speech.
Yeah. Very entertaining ourselves, I believe. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, blow it off.
The thing, somebody was criticizing Trump today on my social media, and they were like, he says this, he says that. I'm like, this guy's available without a teleprompter, without handlers, speaking every day, several times a day. The transparency they're getting with this president is unprecedented.
Yep.
the lack of transparency and the scriptedness and all of the other nonsense went on with Joe Biden. I mean, the press asked him what flavor ice cream he liked. That's as much as he would get. Exactly. Those were the questions. With Trump, it's a barrage, and he talks all the time. Yeah, sometimes it goes a little long, but man, this never seen transparency. And today, he signed all these executive orders with the coal miners and all. Did you guys see that?
Yeah.
He not only did the speech, he then had someone explain each executive order, and he signed it there in front of everyone. Biden signed with auto pen, everything, not knowing what he was signing, if he even knew he signed it.
If he even signed it.
Right. I've never seen a president in history, other than maybe a monumental one, sign something like that and have it explained. Have you?
Nope.
No.
Yeah, it's unprecedented. We're going to be spoiled with this type of transparency, which is a good thing.
Yep. Hopefully it continues.
Yeah.
Ticked off Patriot, what's going on?
Oh, he's ticked off.
Just a little bit. A little bit.
Why?
A little bit ticked off.
How you doing?
How you doing?
A little bit.
We had a couple of super chats earlier, but
Little bit.
Are we going to talk about the official First Friday with guests?
Ooh,
well, it's a little premature.
is it?
No, they already have the media out on it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Press release. The
Yeah.
word is on the street.
Let's
Word is
hear
on the
it.
street.
Book your flight May 2nd. Come on.
Let's hear it, man.
Yeah.
After party at Big D's house. Come on. His yard's big enough for a 200 after party.
I'll
Yeah,
bring the Canisius.
Bring your My Pillow and you can
You'll catch me right in the middle of the jacuzzi. With a Bacardi going on.
You know what? Damon actually loves guests at his.
Ba-ba-da-da. 17 past the hour, live from Studio 6B. Come on, Slick. Come on. Let's do some sports news. News of Vinnie Mac, Aaron Friend. We're going to cram it all in 3 segments. On a Tuesday, Slick's got sports. Sports brought to you by Mike Lindell. Hey, if you didn't see my post, the new Rev 7 drink out from Mike Lindell and My Pillow. Boy, I got them exclusively about 3 weeks ago, and I was told not to say anything until they were released, and today was the release day. They're available on the My Pillow website. I linked to them on our social media. I have not tried it yet, but my son has a lot of interest in it as a pre-workout drink, but it's an energy drink with all so I went to Delgado. I said, yeah, I mean, who's going to know more about this than you?
Yeah,
and what'd you think of it?
From what I've read, the main ingredient, the big ingredient they're pushing, BHB, is pretty good. It's very good for your brain, for your health, for energy, and it's non-caffeine.
Yeah, that's the best part.
That's key.
Which is good, and it's a keto friendly diet kind of thing.
Right, so it's no caffeine and no something else that's big in some of these other drinks, right? That's not good.
Niacin,
whatever it is,
is niacin big in these drinks?
Yeah, I think so.
Doesn't have niacin.
So it doesn't have any of that stuff. It has this other, what is it, is it a peptide or what's this BHB?
It's something the body creates when it goes into ketosis.
Okay.
BHB it's called. It's got a longer name, of course. But that's very healthy and natural energy. So it's a good energy drink.
So Rev 7 is available now on mypillow.com, and you can use our code, obviously. For it looked like it was the prices for, like, they sell them in either singles or in like 12 packs. It looks pretty cheap, $39 or something. I think it's pretty cheap. So
Need to carry
now
that
the only
at the
question,
diner.
of course, is taste, which I have not done yet.
Right.
But mine are chilling. I got all 3,
Bring them in.
and we're gonna do should we do it on air?
Sure.
Okay.
Why not?
We'll do an official taste test tomorrow night.
Okay.
You got
With
plenty
Rick
of room in our refrigerator, so don't worry.
I'll bring my boxing gloves.
Time to do. Let's do some news.
You just lost a segment, pal.
Time to do sports. Sports is brought to
I
you
got
by
frozen.
the aforementioned Mike Lindell. My Pillow, LFSXP is the promo code to use. Slickster, or what's going on?
All right, let's get caught up on the scoreboard. Big D, we got a quick night here. We got the Sabres right now leading the Hurricanes 3-0. 8:53 to go in the third NHL action. We have the Canadiens and Red Wings. Canadiens battling for that last wild card spot, tied at 1 in Montreal. 10 to go there in the third. With 4 to go in the third, the Panthers lead the Leafs 2-1. Bruins bombing the Devils 7-2. 7 to go there in the third. 9:30 to go in the third as well. Blue Jackets over the Senators 4-1. Penguins blanking the Blackhawks 4-0 there. 9 to go in the third as well. In the middle of the second, the Predators have just tied it up again with the Islanders, 3-3 down in Nashville. Stars blanking the Canucks 3-0 there, 10 to go in the second, and with 14 to go in the first. Utah Hockey Club over the Kraken, 1-0. Avalanche and Golden Knights getting it on in Colorado. That's a 9:30 puck drop. There we go right there.
Slickster, have you ever seen a worse
Good.
possession
Poor Houston.
than the final possession of the national championship game?
Unbelievable. I mean,
No. I mean, have you ever seen a worse possession?
I have not. I honestly have not. I really thought that young man would get that shot off there with at the closing moments there, but nope, couldn't. Closing seconds, I should say.
I know, but what was the run? What was the play to even get that shot?
That's my
No,
question.
the guy was. It was,
It
too
was
deep.
horrendous.
Terrible.
He had plenty of time. Guy walks the ball up the court.
Yeah.
Then he stands just
stops.
over half court.
Yeah, a little over.
While no play to the hoop. You don't need a three.
You didn't need the three.
No.
They were playing for the three, which was crazy.
I've never seen. Now the kid made a good defensive play. The kid jumped, shouldn't have left his feet, should have shake, whatever. All that's afterwards to me. What is that play? Right?
Yeah.
Incredible.
There was a you know what? On something like that, especially with 14 seconds. 14 seconds, you need to get a shot off. Not only that, don't
That's
go
plenty of time.
Right. Don't go for these, wait for the last second. If it were me, and I used, and I'm sure you've coached your son, but when I was involved, I was like, you know what? Get down the court, quick, score, put the onus back on them to try and now take the lead. I'd much rather that situation. They should have ran down and just tried to, drive to the hoop, take the foul, and get the foul shots.
Man,
Yep.
I've never seen a worse position.
That was just they didn't. The ball just dribbles away, and it's just bouncing there, and you're seeing their any opportunity they had to win that game or even tie it, just bouncing in front of them because the kid couldn't touch the ball after he left his feet.
After he left his feet.
Oh.
And by the way, congratulations to Chip.
Yes, I was just going to get to that.
Chip, the big winner, right, Slick?
He was, absolutely. He
Can pick football and basketball.
He was number one. He won the whole LFS 6B 64 final. Unbelievable. Incredible championship there. I didn't do too bad either, Big D. I showed up
12th.
on the board there. Yep, I came in tied for ninth position. I was number 12, but a couple of people were tied at 9 and 8. I did okay. I almost got it. Didn't quite get there, Big D. You were inside the top 100 too, right? Would you finish up at?
12th, you were.
I was 12.
There's a 12 next to your
No,
name.
but you got
Not a 9.
Yeah, there's
you
a
got
12.
a guy
If you
tied
look
at
at
one.
it,
You
it
got
looks 12.
3 people tied at 3.
It's a 9 plus 3.
3 people tied at 9.
Right, but those people all count.
They count.
So
yeah.
you came in 12th.
12th. Okay.
Yeah.
Which is the best of anybody here, by the way.
Yeah, by far.
I came in, I think, 84th.
Okay, not bad.
I thought you were up a little higher. I was 93rd, I think. I think I finished inside the 100.
Okay.
not
Very
bad.
nice.
So everybody did well. Congratulations to the
Yeah.
top 10, which is really the top 11, because like Slick said, there's a bunch of people tied at 9 who had the exact same number of points. So
Incredible.
we'll go top 11. So if you're in that top 11, send an email in to lfs6b@yahoo.com with proof that it's you.
Yeah.
Tell us what you want, and we'll send you out your winning
Wow.
merch.
Is the
Nice.
proof photo ID? How do they prove themselves?
We
You know what? It's kind of easy if you go onto your account and you just pull up your original page on your account and you just snap a picture of it.
Yeah.
I'm just
give us
trying
a
to be.
screenshot.
That's the perfect
It'll-
answer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
that's a good-
it'll show that you're inside that account.
Good credentials.
And that Vin is not going to steal your.
Thank you.
Exactly. So if you want a shirt or any T-shirt you want off the site, that new Odds Makers one might be a good one.
Yeah.
So check
Yep.
that out.
It's a winner.
Just one more quick story, sad story in the baseball world last night. Ex-Major League Baseball players Octavio Dotel and Tony Blanco among dead in the Dominican Republic roof
Oh,
collapse.
I thought Dotel got out.
No, he did, but
He died on the
in
way.
hospital.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, more than 50 people died in the tragedy. Chance Martin of Fox News. This was late last night. Octavio Dotel, a World Series champion pitcher and former Major Leaguer Tony Blanco were among those who died following the collapse of a roof at a Dominican Republic nightclub, officials said Tuesday. Dotel was a native of Santo Domingo, the Dominican Republic's capital city, and was inside the Jet Set nightclub early Tuesday when the roof fell as singer Ruby Perez performed on stage. Officials had rescued Dutel from the debris earlier, like you said, Big D, and brought him to a hospital, but the World Series champion later succumbed to his injuries. Major League Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred and Professional Baseball League spokesman Satoshi Terraro also confirmed the death of Dominican baseball player Tony Blanco. Blanco played one season in the majors with the Washington Nationals in 2005 and played most of his career in the minors and in Japan. As a Dominican national spokesman confirmed, Dutel died while he was in transit to the hospital. Dutel was taken to one of the designated hospitals. On the way there, his condition worsened and he died. I believe his sister also passed away along with 48 other people. So just a very sad story. Actually, a good friend of mine just returned from Dominican Republic yesterday. Friend that president of one of the organizations I'm the vice president of, so I got to ask him if he's familiar with that nightclub. What a sad story. Terrible. So
Terrible.
And that's a wrap in sports, Big D. Back to you.
All right, 25 past the hour, live from Studio 6B. Let's start some news, and we'll do some more when we get back. Rick Delgado's got it. What's going on?
All right. Well, I don't know. Everybody's been talking about, of course, the incredible bad downturns of the economy, and the sky is falling. And, well, unfortunately for Morning Joe, he didn't get his Black Monday wish that he and some of the others on CNBC were hoping for. Yeah. Here's cut number 10. Here he is trying to mumble through what didn't happen, cut 10.
Headlines, New York Times, talking about the trade war escalating and market turmoil spreading across the world. Wall Street Journal, I will say, Mika, fortunately, overnight Asia rebounded pretty strongly. Europe's looking pretty good. Futures also looking strong right now for the United States.
Yeah. So him and Jim Cramer are now sitting there.
Experts.
If that guy's not the guy on the bridge in Deliverance, I don't know who is. Jeez. 26 past the hour, live from Studio 6B. More news coming up.
Yes. Brent Wells says, "Oh my God, I can't stand Joe and his husband."
Chat,
Oh,
Big
that's
D.
too funny.
Child of the King.
Child of the King, thank you very much.
Gifted 20 live from Studio 6B memberships. Thank you.
Yeah.
Child of the King.
Love those gifted subs.
Thank you.
Bless.
Let's see. Someone's asking for a T-shirt, Damon.
Oh, well, they got to show their proof.
Who's that?
Probably Chip.
It's Brent Wells. I want a T-shirt of Damon taking a baseball to the eye.
Oh,
wait a
that's a
second.
low blow.
What?
That's a good one.
Holy
Son, keep your eye on the ball. Damon just took it literally.
Yeah, that's a good one. I didn't hear a harump from you. All right, well, I didn't know that was what I was going to say, but
I see that the culprit's back in the chat now. She thinks she's going to be a nightly thing here.
Oh, okay. Hello.
Mm-hmm.
In the Facebook.
I noticed, dude. Don't you think I didn't?
It's baseball season.
I got my eye on you.
It's about time.
It's opening day.
How did she become one of my closest friends, by the way, in life after that? I have no idea.
After you lashed out at her.
Well,
It's time for me to cut those ties.
Well, you guys played on the same softball team, so, you know.
Gotta
What's
draw
the
the line.
softball, Delgado's regular fast pitch?
It's a real thing.
And now, was she a pupil in school with you?
No, she's older than me, actually.
Oh.
Yeah, she's old, man. Oof.
Oh, that hurt. That hurt.
Them's fighting words now.
Where's Mike Lindell's drink when you need it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Greta Garbo wants a T-shirt.
People don't say hello to her like she's like some kind of star.
She's a celebrity.
No.
Who is this person?
None of your business.
Oh, you didn't hear about this last night.
I'm not aware of the whole story.
Sharon.
Sharon. In the chat.
Sharon. Oh, I see Sharon. Yeah. Okay.
She tormented Damon when he was a young fella.
Yeah. No. That's when it started. It continues on till what's today? My whole life has been not just as a
April 8th.
Every holiday, here comes Sharon through the front door.
Are you saying
Who
that
invited you? Nobody.
She still comes home for the holidays?
Of course.
Oh, my gosh.
Can't get rid of her.
Yeah.
Wow.
Always open door at Damon's house. Come on. Anyone can show up.
You're like Charlie Brown and she's your Lucy.
Oh, man. Okay. So that's the story of Sharon. This is very
Well,
deep
she hit him
stuff.
in the face with a
Accidentally.
baseball.
Oh.
She was the catcher.
Ah, okay.
And Mr. Pitcher here.
All right, 30 minutes past the hour, live from what? What did I just say? 30 minutes past the hour, live from Studio 6B on a Tuesday night, April 8th. I'm in a rush because the president spoke. When he started, I thought, oh, man, he's going to be done before 8. He started at like 7:30.
I said
thought,
8:20.
He'd be done before 8. You said 8:20. I'm like, no way. He's got a black tie and he wants to go eat, get out of here. Just say hello to these losers in the Republican Party. And,
Yeah, but
see, that's the thing. Like Vince said, that's the room he should be hammering. The Congressional Republican whatever caucus, whatever that is. He shouldn't be up there saying it's a big, beautiful bill. We all need to vote for it. He should be saying, what the hell are you passing? No one voted for this kind of spending. No one voted for raising the debt ceiling $5 trillion. We all ran against this. I don't know. But, so anyways, the president spoke, so we can get started till about 9:05. So we're trying to get everything in. Let's do some news with Rick Delgado, and then we'll go to Vinnie Mac here. Delgado, what's going on?
All right. Well, President Trump, the aforementioned, had a pretty good day as well as a long speech. Turns out he got a couple more court victories, as the Supreme Court lifted a block from U.S. District Court James Bozoberg, which prevented Trump from deporting the suspected illegal alien gangs in the 5-4 decision. Of course, we talked about that yesterday, so that was one big one that he had. But also, today, the Supreme Court lifted a lower court order that blocked the Trump administration from firing 16,000 federal employees, saying the environmental groups and other outside organizations harmed by the reduction in public services lacked the legal standing to challenge the layoffs. The brief order was unsigned, as is typical when the court acts on emergency requests. Two liberal justices, of course, Ketanji Brown Jackson and Sonia Sotomayor, said they voted to deny Trump administration's requests at issue. Blah, blah, blah. Was from William Alsup of the judge in the court of San Francisco, requiring reinstatement of these probationary employees, of which they will now not have to do, so they are allowed to be fired. So there you have it, another win for the Trump administration. And again, I know we talk about how they should really just be not paying attention to these district court judges, but, I guess this is the route that he's chosen to go, the president has, to make sure that it's quote unquote codified, that now he has the legitimacy that he can do what he says he can do.
He had to force it.
Right.
But the vote was what, 5-4?
Right.
Again.
It was 5-4. Again, it was
How is this possible?
It was all the liberal justices voting together.
And Amy Barrett there.
I was including her.
You are.
I mean, you think about the one yesterday, 5-4.
Yeah.
5-4.
80 million people voted for President Trump because they wanted the border secure. They wanted fentanyl out. 80 million of us voted for that. To think by one vote, the will of the people can now be recognized is not what our founders envisioned of a government governed by the people for the people.
Yeah.
This is not representative constitutional republic that the founders recognized. That you have to hope that 5 people wake up, and specifically one person wakes up on the right side of the bed and says, oh yeah, today, okay, we'll recognize 80 million people voting for this agenda. We'll decide to let it go through. I mean, it's absolutely crazy.
It makes me nervous. I don't know if it makes you guys nervous. A 5-4 vote on a
it's
clear series of issues. It's not like this is not vague. This is not debated even. There's just some rogue judge putting it in, and it's 5-4. Makes me nervous for other stuff in the future.
Well, because the other, the liberals plus Amy Coney Barrett are all just, it's about their feels. Oh my goodness, this is so, it doesn't feel well, and they might write something bad about me in the New York Times, and I can't have that. You know what? It's disgusting that these people are allowed to be called Supreme Court judges when they don't rule by the way the law is written.
They're no different than those federal court judges that are just ruling on gross partisanship.
Right.
They're no different. Those 4 justices.
Exactly. Along the same lines with Bozo Berg, as it turns out, because of yesterday's crushing, Bozo Berg planned hearing to review Trump deportations. Well, he canceled that today. In a minute order published Tuesday morning, U.S. District Court. The U.S. District Court judge announced that the previously scheduled Tuesday afternoon hearing would be vacated in light of the High Court's high ruling, which determined, among other things, that the appropriate venue for such proceedings is the Southern District of Texas, not wherever the hell he is. So that's another good thing that comes out of this.
I noticed that he was keeping this hearing, and I thought, boy, that really seems like you're giving the middle finger to the 5 justices on the Supreme Court by keeping this hearing today. So hence, here you go. He ended up canning it, rightfully so.
Exactly. Yeah. So there you have that. And then, of course, you can always count on the people at CNN, especially, I think Harry Enton's a Trump fan, to be honest with you. The way he gets into these numbers when he starts talking about
He gets excited.
He does get excited. Yesterday, last time we played him, he touched the ground when he was going over some of those numbers. Did a little spin move. Here he is talking about President Trump's second term. Here he is, cut number 1. Check this out, Harry Enton from CNN.
I think there was this concern among some folks that Donald Trump would come in for a second term and kind of be a lame duck. He ain't no lame duck. If anything, he's a soaring eagle. What am I talking about here? Let's talk about Trump executive orders in 2025. He's already signed 111 so far. That is the most at this point in a presidency in at least 100 years. In fact, it's the most in any single year, and we're only in April, since Harry S. Truman in the early 1950s. The bottom line is, whether you like Trump or you don't like him, you can't say that he's come in and not try to deliver on what he at least believes was his promises on the campaign trail, and he's doing so in historic fashion.
Yeah, so there he is talking about that. Here is Harry continuing on, talking about the president and how he's actually executing his presidency this time around. Here's cut number 2.
How are people reacting to and feel about Trump's approach?
Yeah, okay, so Trump's approach here, what are we talking about? Trump's approach to presidential power. I think the American people recognize what he's doing here is completely different. We're talking, get this, 86% of the American public believes that Trump's approach to presidential power is completely different from past presidents, compared to only 14% who believe it is in line with precedent. And we're talking about at least 79% of Democrats, independents, and Republicans. So again, you can agree or you can disagree with Donald Trump, but what you can't disagree with is that he's doing things very differently. I have used the Frank Sinatra quote before. He is doing it, quote unquote, my way, and that is what Donald Trump has done throughout both of his presidential terms, and he's certainly doing that, Kate Baldwin, in term number 2.
Yeah. Well, there you have it, as he extols the virtues.
He's doing what we elected him to do.
Yeah,
Let's just call it what it is.
Right.
It's what we wanted him to do.
To co-host there, Kate Baldwin. So there you have it, David.
All right, very good. Rick Delgado will do some more news here in the next segment with some sports before we wrap it up for a Tuesday. But Vinnie Mac is here. Vinnie Mac, what's been on your mind?
Yeah, tariffs have been on my mind, but I'm going to attack it at a slightly different angle because to me, it's all about China. And I don't know if everybody saw the news today. 70 countries are now fully engaged with the president to either modify or work out a deal on tariffs, right? That's all great. Things are moving along. You're going to see things recover, the stock market and other pieces of that. This is a short-term Band-Aid we're pulling off here.
It can't recover until he announces some of these deals, don't you?
That's right.
Do you think?
He's negotiating. 70 countries have come to him and said, let's cut a deal. We're interested. We don't want to have this problem. So the good news is that's what's happening. But the reality of what really is happening here, I'm trying to peel back what the Democrats are up to and why they're up to it. What we're unwinding here is globalization. We've talked about it before on the show, but that's what we're trying to unwind. What the Democrats have basically laid a stake in the ground for is the elites and the people dependent on the government. The middle class in the middle, they've taken it down to next to nothing. This is where Trump is going. So why all the hysteria? Why this narrative that's going on? Because the Democrats don't want China and Japan and Europe to go along with this. They're basically saying to them, hang in there. Trump's going to cave at some point. Wait as long as you can. Make it difficult. Don't cave. This is what they're trying to have happen because that slows the entire agenda down and it keeps the global agenda in place. And that's what we're fighting against. But at the end of the day, the Europeans have come to the table. Japan came to the table today. And who's out there dialing it up a little further? And that is China. So China is the main event in this entire tariff deal. Everything else is just the opening act and a sideshow. China is the main event. Why is China the main event? Most of their market is us. This is who they sell to for the most part. They do sell to Europe and other parts of the world. We are the biggest market for them. 2, Russia and China are pals. They're buying a lot of oil from Russia. They've become essentially our biggest enemy in so many ways. So China is going to fight this tooth and nail because what happens if we win this trade war with China is disrupts the entire power structure of China. They no longer control the ball as they have economically in the world and having us dependent on all of these things. This is bigger than just tariffs. This is all about the power struggle, and Trump sees this, the power struggle with likely our #1 foe in the world, which is China, who have done everything they can to undermine this country, including controlling all the products that come into our country with the great help of the Democrats and Republican politicians, too. They've enabled this entire thing to happen. So when you see all these things happening around you with all these countries coming to the table, that is all great. But watch how the Democrats are focused and who they're focused on. They're focused on Europe, China, and Japan. So we got 2 of those 3 done. The big battle is going to be China now. So I wanted to point out why this is all happening, because the gravity of all of these pieces is all about the global agenda of Europe, of the left, and of others that want to have that. And the folks that hurts the most is the middle class. So when all this comes together and there are now real jobs that the middle class can then build upon, we're making things again, we're doing all these other things that we lost because it all went overseas. This is the American dream. When people came here and talked about the American dream, they get jobs as plumbers, electricians, factory workers, supervisors. They went through the chain of command. They started working on the assembly line at Ford, and then they become managers, and they become vice presidents. That's the American dream. That's what our parents and grandparents and their grandparents, that's what they did. That's what it is. It's not that it's not here anymore, and it's here in some different ways, maybe technology, but the global movement has taken the entire middle class opportunity away. So I wanted to share all those thoughts to kind of put it right succinctly where it is. And just the heart of the arrow here is China.
Yeah, and the president has made it clear over the last couple of days that in fact is the deal. And as he said in that speech, 104% tariffs will be in effect, by tonight if they don't back off?
He's got to do it.
Markets that operate are right now, including the crypto market, they paid attention to that comment. Big reaction.
They're not going to like it, but he has to do it. He has to do it.
All right, we're back right after this.
Chat, Big D. YouTube chat. Child of the King said, count again, Slick. 40. memberships tonight. She's giving another 20. 20 on top of 20. Yeah, they just clicked on when we came back on the show. So 40 from Child of the King tonight. Woof, that's big. Thank you there, young lady.
In the face.
And Larry Pitts, $9.99. Can I get a shout out for my daughter on her birthday? Happy 24th. Looks like Charlesy. Charlsey. Charlesy or Charlesy.
Oh, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Charlesy.
Charlesy?
Larry
24.
Pitts. I'm out. 24. Oh, man. What a days. Good stuff, though. All right. Thank you.
Can't really talk about it. Sorry.
No, we're not going to talk about it. Happy birthday.
Yeah, people are concerned. I've seen on all the chatter about prices of things. That's going to be a challenge. But we're going to bring this stuff here. We're going to be competitive, and it's going to be fine. I'm a big believer in all of it. You know, someone mentioned on social they're concerned about the price of drugs. What we really need to be concerned about is the pharmaceutical companies' price of drugs.
Right.
They're making them in China because they're making a bigger profit. We can make them here.
Yeah. Their day of reckoning, Vin, I believe, is going to come very soon, the drug manufacturers.
I hope so.
It's got to be on the watch list for RFK. I'm watching that very closely, and I will be chiming in big time when that happens because that's where I come from, and I like to see it happen.
You know what I
they've
would
done to
suggest?
this healthcare system is deplorable.
What do you think of this as a possible solution? Instead of 7 years, that's the time they got
the patents.
The patents and all that, which is why brand drugs are so expensive.
Sure. Then it goes generic and
they go generic. They're cheap. You can buy them online.
Pennies on a dollar.
So change it. Make it 4 years.
Right.
Why? Because then all these other companies could be competitive. Who can sustain 7 years?
Yep.
A very rich company with a lot of money can. Hence, we got to recoup all this money for 7 years, right? Make it 4, make it 3 years. Still has to be safe, but you don't need 7 years.
Yeah, and look at the government funds all the R&D for this. I mean, the research and development. It takes they milk that too. These Pfizers and all these companies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
then these biotech companies can come to the table.
I don't want to look over my back though.
And produce. You're okay.
Cover my back.
There's no one behind you but
somewhere.
a couple of scary dolls. That's all.
It is scary.
But that's a solution that seems like so logical. It just seems so practical too.
Chat. Again, Les Durham, $2. Chats wish happy birthday to Lindesh. Lindesh.
All right, 13 to the hour, live from Studio 6B. Wrapping it up on a short Tuesday night. President Trump took the first hour. We took the second. Rick Delgado's going to do the news. Vinnie Mac maybe have a couple of extra thoughts here if we have a little time. But let's start with I'll start with sports. Sports is brought to you by Mike Lindell. MyPillow. LFS6B is the promo code to use. Check out the new Rev 7 energy drink. America's most functional energy drink has been released. Rev 7. It's available at it's on our social media, on our Twitter, and it's also available on the MyPillow website. And you can use our code and get a great discount on it and check it out. Looks like it's going to be pretty good. We're going to do an official taste test tomorrow night.
I'm in.
Live here on the show. Well, you won't be here.
Well, I'm still in. I can still be in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Vinny's going to taste it tomorrow night from somewhere.
I'll do
Wherever
a
the hell he is.
virtual taste.
Yeah, it's virtual. Let's do the sports. Slicks, guys. What's going on, Slickster?
I'm going to skip the scores, check your phone, or check the news for that. But let me give you two good sports stories I want to wrap up with.
Okay.
Patrick Mahomes' mom gushes over a visit to the White House. This is Warner Todd Houston and Breitbart. Kansas City Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes' mother, Randy Mahomes, gushed over her visit to the Trump White House with a simple 2-word description of the day. After her visit, Randy Mahomes took to her Instagram stories to describe it, posting a photo of the White House and the message, "Priceless visit." The Super Bowl winner's mother has been open about supporting the president. For instance, last November, she was seen at a game wearing the president's signature "Make America Great Again" cap. It was just ahead of last year's election, and in the video, she proclaimed, "Make America Great again. Let's do it. In an obvious endorsement of Trump's bid for a second term in the White House, the video impressed sport commentator Clay Travis, who wrote, "It's an entirely different world in 2024. People in public are way more willing to be pro-Trump now than ever before. Go vote." Mahomes' wife, Brittany, also endorsed Trump ahead of the 2024 election. Always good to get in good with your mother-in-law if you can, right? And just one, I thought that was a great story. It's good to see with all those libs. You know, you got Taylor Swift in the one box over there, right?
Yeah.
Rooting for Kelsey, and there's Mahomes' mom. She's a Trump girl. Love to see that.
Oh,
and last story, and a good ending to a really sad situation. Johnny Gaudreau's widow gives birth to third child, looks exactly like his daddy. This is Dylan Gwynn at Breitbart. The widow of former NHL star Johnny Gaudreau gave birth to the couple's third child earlier this month. Meredith Gaudreau took to Instagram to announce that Carter Michael Gaudreau was born on April 1st. She also listed her son's stats, saying the youngster weighed 8 pounds and 3 ounces. Meredith also revealed the most important detail. He looks exactly like his daddy, too. And another baby boy, Meredith wrote, Carter is the couple's second boy. Johnny and his brother Matthew were killed last summer by an alleged drunk driver who drove into them as they rode their bicycles in New Jersey. Authorities believe Sean Higgins, 43, used the oncoming lane to pass a sedan and hit the cyclist when he re-entered the right lane, according to Fox 29 in Philadelphia. Higgins was charged with 2 counts of death by auto, along with reckless driving, possession of an open container, and consuming alcohol in a motor vehicle. Johnny Gaudreau played in the NHL for 11 years. His first 9 with Calgary Flames and final 2 with the Columbus Blue Jackets. He totaled 243 goals and 500 assists. Gaudreau also played for Team USA. So good story there. And he's got a child. He left a legacy behind. Maybe we'll see that son lacing up the NHL skates one day. It's a tall order, but I'd love to see it. And that's a wrap in sports for me, Big T. Back to you.
All right, Slick, very good. Sports is brought to you by Mike Lindell. LFS6B is the promo code to use if you're shopping at MyPillow. Delgado's got some news. What else is going on?
All right. Well, I don't know if you saw
the breaking news from John Solomon I sent you?
I saw that, which is breaking, but I don't know if you saw this. MAGA Rep Tim Burchett, one of our favorites, Republican out of Tennessee, expanded on eyebrow-raising allegations made against Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. Did you hear about this?
Yes, I did.
Floated early Tuesday morning by Elon Musk of course, the head of Doge. Musk in his X platform just before 1 a.m. wrote in a reply, "Chuck, I'm starting to think you're getting a piece of the action with government fraud. But no, that couldn't possibly be the reason, could it?" Turns out Burchett was on with Benny Johnson, and here he is talking about the allegations that the paper trail is leading directly to one Charles Chucky the Schmucky Schumer, the Democrat senator from New York. Here is cut number 5. Check this out.
Congressman, you must know something about this. Has Elon discovered something about Chuck Schumer, his family, or corruption?
I'd say he's probably discovered something about everybody. Elon's got that paper trail, and he told us in the meeting, in our little private meeting, there's a paper trail that's going back to Washington, D.C. And dadgummit, somebody better be let out of one of these buildings in handcuffs, because this is real. This is going on. We've seen it all over. We see it in California with some of the elected officials out there. It's been documented in the past, and nobody's willing to say anything about it or do anything about it. Or they get reelected and they get put right back in leadership. And that's why it's so important to have a Justice Department that's not weaponized against the people, but is weaponized against corruption. And we've currently got that. We've just got to hold on to it. And I don't know if we've got the guts or the willpower to do it, because Congress is gutless, Benny. Congress is gutless. Every day we ought to be demanding that these bills move forward, and nobody's doing it. Nobody.
Yeah, so there he is talking about it. The Tennessee Republican also talked about other things in that clip. But as you can tell, this is going to have some reverberations through D.C. as everybody knows who Chuck Schumer is. And another story that's going to gain a lot of eyeballs and earballs is from Just the News. John Solomon, as he's reporting, Senators Ron Johnson and Chuck Grassley sent a letter to FBI Director Kash Patel and U.S. Attorney Pam Bondi with evidence revealing that the Biden White House directly helped special counsel Jack Smith in his January 6th investigation into President Donald Trump. According to the letter, the White House counsel's office secretly obtained Trump and then Vice President Mike Pence's former cell phones on behalf of the prosecution. So there you have that breaking over at Just the News. And
just say that sentence again so everybody can just take that in.
Yeah. There's evidence revealing that the Biden White House directly helped start special counsel Jack Smith's January 6th investigation into President Trump. Basically, the White House was investigating President Trump and using Jack Smith as their proxy.
And they unknowingly to the former president at that time, now current president again, and to the former vice president, did what with their phones?
Turn them over to Jack Smith's team. The new whistleblower emails also show that a future member of the special counsel team for Jack Smith was an anti-Trump FBI agent who was closely involved in the origins of the FBI probe. Operation Arctic Frost formed the basis of the special counsel Jack Smith's false elector case, under which former President Trump was later charged with the conspiracy to defraud the United States.
Again, this falls into the old category of no one really should act surprised, but still when it's actually then now, it's like confirmed what we all knew years ago, and everybody told us we were all crazy, like COVID, like a string of 10 things you could go through. It's just, once again, you just shake your head and go, what these people got away with.
Right.
But in the end, we all knew, of course, the White House is directing these things. Of course, Biden's, well, not him, but of course, Susan Rice, Barack Obama, Valerie Jarrett, all of them were directing all of this. The White House, of course, knew what was going on. Of course, they were talking to the Attorney General. Of course, he had his hand in it. Of course, the second in command left the Attorney General's office to go to New York for that specific reason, to get Trump. No, he wasn't looking for a downgrade. You don't leave one of the most prestigious jobs in the world to go work at the SDNY.
Right, please.
Unless you're put there specifically for a reason. Give me a break.
And don't forget, of course, Fannie Willis sent her boyfriend up to D.C. a half a dozen times to meet with the Biden people about what they could do in Georgia.
Exactly.
So, just amazing stuff. These new emails are contained in a letter the senator sent to Attorney General Pam Bondi and FBI cash director, and we'll see what happens more as this story starts to unfold. Again, from the great John Solomon.
Yes, since John didn't have any Epstein updates, let's quickly do our Epstein update. Epstein update on name drops and arrests today. Rick Delgado, before we have to wrap, let's go. How many arrests?
Here you go.
Talk about drawing a blank.
Look at that. Handcuffs.
As always, we salute our military, active and inactive, police, firefighters, first responders, EMTs, everybody on the front lines, all emergency personnel. Thanks, guys, on the show. Sorry for the short night. Aaron Frank, great job as always. Most of all, thank you to Live from Studio 6B audience. We'll see you tomorrow night, Wednesday, 8 p.m. right here, live from Studio 6B.
We can't go an extra hour?
We need that energy drink.
You can.
Oh, yeah.